Morant with a running start. Elevate! Dunks! Oh my goodness! Tie game in overtime. Gasol will turn his heat. It's gone! Memphis on top. 7-10 remaining. Conley now with three. Count it! A 15-point lead for Memphis. And Blake Griffin gets into it on the floor with Randolph. Hard to tell if there are any punches being thrown under there, but Griffin took acceptance. Adams going long. Morant! He hit it! John Morant, insanity!
You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Grits and Grinds, a Memphis Grizzlies podcast. Grizzlies win edition. My name is Keith Parrish. The Grizzlies, for the second straight game in Vegas, forced a ton of turnovers and ran away with a 20-point victory. And also, for the second straight time in Vegas, they played without Zach Edey. On this episode, which I'm recording in Las Vegas, I'm going to talk about that game and the things going on in the arena, plus also go over our team apparel watch and mention the Shams Charania report on Ziarie Williams. Before we do all that, just a word from SeatGeek. SeatGeek takes the confusion out of buying tickets with an easy color-coded seat map, letting you know what the best deals are. Plus, if you're a first-time user, you can use my promo code FASTBreakBreak, and SeatGeek will take $20 off your first ticket purchase. So if you need tickets for any event, try SeatGeek and use my promo code FASTBreakBreak for $20 off. All right, before we get into the victory over the Mavericks, let's knock out the Ziarie Williams report that the Athletic's Shams Charania put out on Monday. He said, quote, the Grizzlies are discussing deals to move 2021 lottery draft pick Ziarie Williams. I am not going to spend a lot of time on this because I already talked about this last episode. I told you the Grizzlies were planning to move Ziarie Williams. They are not trying to field offers for him. Okay, they're not trying to trade him for something. They're trying to salary dump him. That's what I talked about last episode. They're getting rid of Ziarie Williams to get rid of his salary so they can re-sign Luke Kennard and stay under the luxury tax line. Luke Kennard, by the way, was spotted in Las Vegas. I saw Kelsey Wright Johnson from Grind City Media posting a photo of Luke Kennard and his family. So maybe we're getting close to that Luke Kennard signing. But again, if you need more details, listen to my previous episode. The understanding among people in Las Vegas seems to be the Grizzlies are salary dumping Ziarie Williams so they can re-sign Luke Kennard and dodge the luxury tax. If you've been listening for any amount of time to this show, you know my feelings about that. Anyways, the Grizzlies beat the Mavericks, and it was a blowout. The Grizzlies got up 13-0. The Grizzlies raced out to a 25-4 lead. I'll be honest, it felt like watching a high school basketball game with the fact that the Mavericks couldn't get the ball across half court. I mean, maybe it all starts with Scotty Pippen Jr. and his on-ball defense, but him just picking the pocket of guys and then getting runaway layups. It was, again, not what you normally see in an NBA setting. It was the, again, second straight game with a preposterous number of forced turnovers. Against the Kings, you remember the Grizzlies forced 31 turnovers. In this game, the Grizzlies forced 12 more in just the first quarter. So if you're keeping track at home, that's 43 turnovers across 5 10-minute quarters in Las Vegas. Basically, this whole game, my most interesting point that I was following was hoping the Grizzlies would force 30 more turnovers. They did not. Very sadly, they only finished with 27 forced turnovers. They had 23 turnovers forced with about 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. I thought they were going to get there, but then the Mavericks took care of the basketball pretty well for about a 10-minute stretch. But this was an easy, comfortable blowout led by the steals and the defense of this entire team. Not only Scotty Pippen Jr., but like Jake LaRavia got a bunch of steals too. Coming off the bench, Isaiah Miller was just wreaking havoc on the Mavericks ball handlers. They basically never really had a chance. Now, I guess before I get more into the game, I should mention the fact that Zach Edey, of course, did not play. This was quite disappointing. I'm going to end my 5-day stint in Las Vegas without having seen Zach Edey play. I'm not happy about that. Apparently, according to Drew Hill, he practiced in full on Sunday And the team still is saying he is going to play at some point in Vegas Summer League. His next opportunity is on Wednesday. The Grizzlies play on Wednesday and on Thursday. They have a back-to-back. So you would guess, apparently Zach Edey is going to play in one of those games. But without Zach Edey, in Vegas, the Grizzlies have been able to deploy this pressing, aggressive defense that's forced a ton of turnovers. Would they still be doing this with Zach Edey? Yeah, probably. But as it is now, with no Zach Edey, they're able to just really pressure the ball and get up and down the court. I mean, maybe Zach Edey could do everything that Trey Jimson is doing out there on the defensive end. But no Zach Edey for this one, but it was not an issue as the Grizzlies won by 20 points again. So Pippen, like I said, he set the tone. He had 12 points in the first half. Also, 4 of his steals came in the first half. I would absolutely call him the player of the game for this one. He finished with 19 points, 7 assists, and 5 steals. He might have gotten tired in the second half. His second half numbers very underwhelming, but overall a really good game from a guy who is definitely looking like an end of the bench, like a 10 through 15 guy on an NBA roster. He is right now, by the way, he's currently 3rd all time in Summer League history with 2.8 steals per game in his Summer League career. Donovan Mitchell, by the way, is 1st. He averaged 4.4 in his brief Summer League career, and he did that mainly because he did 8 or 9 steals in a game against the Grizzlies his rookie year at Summer League. Wade Baldwin was dribbling the basketball a lot in that game. But Scotty Pippen Jr., really nice game, really good aggressive defense. He said post-game that he has been really taking advantage of the rules. He says the fact that he's allowed 10 fouls and the teams get 10 fouls before the other team goes into the bonus, that the team is using that to their advantage by being maybe excessively aggressive and making the referees call things. Now, part of me wonders, is this actually useful? Knowing you have 10 fouls to use and you're more aggressive, is that a skill that's going to translate when you actually play in the NBA? I mean, maybe. Obviously, Scotty Pippen Jr. should not be worrying about fouls whenever he gets in the game for the Grizzlies for real. Hopefully, he's playing little short stints off the bench. And sure, be as aggressive as you want to be. Although in the NBA, you definitely don't want to get the other team in the bonus that quickly. So, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this idea that the Grizzlies are knowingly taking advantage of Summer League-specific rules, because that goes to, what's the objective here? The objective is not to win Summer League games. The objective is to prepare yourself for winning regular season games. But maybe that doesn't matter at all. We can just enjoy the Grizzlies forcing a preposterous number of turnovers in these Summer League games. Now, G.G. Jackson, he had a very good statistical game, 23 points and 11 rebounds. He did get off to a slow start. He basically did all his scoring once the game was totally out of reach. In the third quarter, though, when he really started getting it rolling, he had a nice step-through Euro step, gliding towards the basket, follow that up with a three-pointer, and then I think the bucket really opened up for him, and he scored quite comfortably in the second half. Also good to see he had a couple of nice follow dunks, finished with 11 rebounds. I think one of the challenges for Gigi is finding ways to impact the game that aren't just scoring. I actually asked Jason March after the game, what is he seeing from Gigi, and what does he want Gigi to be doing beyond scoring? And Jason emphasized that they're really challenging him to pick up full court and really deliver on the defensive end. And he said he's done an okay job at that. He has some really great stretches, but then there are some lapses. So that's something the coaching staff has given him as a goal, saying you got to make the impact on defense as well. Now, Jake LaRavia had another really nice game. Followed up his 6-steal performance with 4 steals in this one. Also, an impressive 7 assists. That's against 4 turnovers. He scored 14 points, so overall a very strong line for LaRavia. 14 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 4 steals, 2 made three-pointers. He did, I believe, leave the game with injury of sorts. I think he has a sore knee now, so I guess his playing status is in question for Wednesday and Thursday's games. He's averaging 4.3 steals per game in his 3 Summer League games. So if you add him and Scotty Pippen Jr.'s steals per game together, those guys combined 8.3 steals per game so far in Summer League. Just the question for Jake remains, does he do enough things well enough to be on the court in the NBA when, like, despite getting all these steals, maybe perimeter defense is actually more of a weakness? And who is he going to be guarding in NBA games? He can't really guard smaller guards, smaller players. He's not quick enough for that. Does he do enough else with, if it is scrapping for steals or grinding his way to the foul line? Does he do enough else? Is he able to shoot the ball well enough to contribute and stay on the court at the NBA level? But again, it's been a very good Summer League so far for Jake LaRavia. Now, Trey Jimson, starting for Zach Edey, had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 assists, and a steal. He is just a forceful player. He knows his role, he screens, he rebounds, and he clobbers dudes. Just lots of physicality, lots of banging into players. He's a very strong player, obviously. He actually said after the game, we asked him, he said he's stronger than Zach Edey. That's all we wanted to know. He pointed out Edey has 10 pounds on him, but as of now, Trey Jimson, stronger than Zach Edey. He did say in practice that Edey has been a great player. He's really, really good. But Jimson had a really good game in this one, again, doing just the little things and also helping out when they didn't just get a run-out bucket because they scored so frequently on turnovers. And it's hard basically to analyze the Grizzlies' offense so far. Like, the big question for the Grizzlies, you know, when you think big picture for the season, it's our offense. Can our offense be good enough? Last year, with no good players, I think they finished 11th in defensive rating, and they've been really good at defense the past few years. And when their offense has had good offensive ratings, it's normally because of forced turnovers and offensive rebounds. And the big picture question has been for years now, playoff offense, half-court offense. And they keep drafting, and every offseason they focus on, we got to add shooting. We got to add three-point spacers so our half-court offense is better. And I know it's just Summer League again, but when you think about the big picture of trying to improve this roster and you look at, all right, well, how's the Summer League going to apply to regular season games? And then you're wondering, well, how's the offense any better? Frankly, it's really impossible to judge how the offense is doing because the Grizzlies are so good at defense. I mean, it's a funny problem to have. It's a good problem to have. Like, they've forced so many turnovers that they basically rarely run half-court sets. Like, they're not running half-court offense because they're getting so many breakaway layups and things. So, again, good problem to have. The question is, how good does the team look, or how well are they executing the things they want the coaching staff to execute, and how good is the half-court offense? Jimison said post-game that, like, you know, he thinks they're doing a pretty good job. The spacing has improved. I also asked Jason March about the three-point shooting, that despite winning these games in blowout fashion, there hasn't been a game yet at Summer League where the Grizzlies have shot the three-pointers well. They were 8 for 25 in this game from 3. And he pointed out, yeah, the shooting hasn't been very good, but the spacing he thinks has improved from Utah, from the Salt Lake City Summer League, but that's still something that they're working on. Jason March also may have been the first person associated with the Grizzlies to ever say that he thought maybe they could take fewer three-pointers. He said something to the effect of, we don't actually have to shoot three-pointers when we're attacking in the paint so well, scoring in the paint so well, and there's driving lanes available. He was saying, like, all right, we don't actually have to shoot some of these shots. Like, we could just probably drive in and get a layup. But the shooting remains a challenge. Like, yes, GG made some shots on this one. Jake hit his three-pointers. Scotty Pippen Jr. was 1 for 4. Cam Spencer, he's been the best three-point shooter for the Grizzlies all Summer League. Cam Spencer played really, really well, but then he got hurt. Terrible news there. He sprained his right ankle. I would assume Cam Spencer is done for Summer League based on the severity of his reaction. He reacted very strongly. He yelled out when he turned the ankle. He tried to play through it, but they subbed him out immediately. Cam, I mean, he is a dog, like they say. He was 5 out of 7 from the field, made 1 out of 2 three-pointers, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 11 points, 1 steal. He's played so well. He's absolutely been better than Jaylen Wells so far in Summer League. But Cam, nice playing, but gets hurt and leaves this game. Now, as far as Jaylen Wells, he came off the bench. his stat line looks good, or his stat line looks fine, but I don't think it tells the story of the game, because in the first half, when it was still a game, although honestly this game, it was never really a game. When you're ahead 25-4, the other team never really challenges you, maybe it was never a game. But in the first half, Jaylen didn't take a shot. In the second half, up 30, yeah, okay. He finally puts the ball in the basket a little bit. He scores 7 points, in the fourth quarter, finishes with 13 points overall, 5 out of 8 from the field, 2 assists, 2 steals. So that's all well and good, but he did not make much of an impact in the game in the first half. And again, he keeps being what I would call invisible. You don't really notice he's there. Maybe he is providing that spacing that's allowing other guys to get to the bucket, but not a lot to talk about Jaylen Wells so far in Summer League outside of that one game winner he had and the big fourth quarter he had. Big second and fourth quarter he had in the victory over the Thunder in Salt Lake City. Now, as far as the other guys who came off the bench with Jaylen, Isaiah Miller, 12 minutes, but massive impact. He was just hounding the Mavericks ball handlers. He's so athletic. He's a huge leaper. You saw it on the reverse alley-oop dunk that he finished. Also in pregame warmups, he was attempting all kinds of impressive dunks. He wasn't making that many of them, but a lot of behind the back, between the leg dunk attempts. So an extreme athlete, and again, a terrible shooter, but he didn't take any jumpers. 3 out of 3 in the paint. He was only credited with 1 steal, but it felt like he forced more than that. I got 1 assist, 1 rebound. And then Drew Pember, big Drew Pember from UNC Asheville, actually got some run in this one. He played 16 minutes. Had 2 points, 2 rebounds, had a block. He finished a nice alley-oop from Cam Spencer. He also, if we're talking about not great things, he threw an easy pass straight out of bounds when he just should have swung it to the top of the key, launched it out of bounds. He did contest a dunk pretty nicely. He was called for a foul, but he used his size to keep the ball from going in. And that was an impressive, I thought, defensive play, just being a big guy out there. Deke Giroux slashing to the paint, getting 2 steals, 2 assists, just doing Deke things. This game seemed tailor-made for him with his gritty style of play. And finally, Timmy Allen, Kyle Castlin, and Lucas Williamson got into this game, but it was just garbage time. They all essentially ran out the clock, so there's not really anything to say about their performances. But as far as things going on in the arena, I think worth mentioning the gym observations. Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, and Vince Williams Jr. were all there sitting courtside with Zach Kleiman, Tayshaun Prince, and Taylor Jenkins. Meanwhile, Ziarie Williams was also there, but he was seated much further away down in the corner. So poor Ziarie Williams. Tony Allen was at the game. He was not sitting courtside. I felt bad. He was sitting on the front row behind courtside. I thought someone should come and move Tony Allen to the front row. There was space. We got to get our Grizzlies legends front and center there, sitting courtside. Zach Edey did go over to say hello to Tony Allen. I am not convinced Zach Edey had any idea who Tony Allen was beforehand, but he was guided over to Tony to say hello. Zach will, if he doesn't already, learn much more about Tony, as Tony is going to have his jersey retired this season. Also, Kelsey Plum showed up from the Las Vegas Aces. Jaren Jackson Jr. went over and talked to Kelsey for a little bit. The team issued apparel watch. We've been doing this basically each episode. The Grizzlies coaching staff, they were wearing dark slate polos with a Vancouver alternate logo on the chest. It's the circle logo with the totems. We can now add that to the collection of throwback items we've noticed among the coaches and players so far at Summer League. We've had the main primary Vancouver logo with the Grizzlies bear and the fun font that I rip off in a lot of my grits and grinds art. We had the Sounds 50th anniversary polos the coaching staff wore, and now the coaching staff wore throwback Vancouver alternate logos there. So again, 30th anniversary of Vancouver Grizzlies coming up this season, 50th anniversary of the Memphis Sounds. That's one I did not know until they wore those polos. So we're all assuming that is going to show the hand for some of the Grizzlies jerseys, both the throwbacks and maybe the city jerseys we get this upcoming season. And with that, I think we covered everything. I have to check out of my hotel room and get on a plane. If you want more Summer League coverage, I'll be doing a Fast Break Breakfast episode on Wednesday, talking about some general Summer League observations, some stories of things that I've had going on, and then also just watching the players. Like, there's been a lot of good players out here. A lot of the draft picks have actually looked very, very good. Some of them have been fine. I mean, some people are down on like Alexander Sarr. I think he's going to be fine. But if you want more information like that, make sure you're subscribed to Fast Break Breakfast. And as far as the Grizzlies going forward this week, they play the Magic on Wednesday. The Magic Summer League team has been very, very good. This game actually could have a big impact on who makes the championship game. Basically, the championship game is picked by who has the best record and then best point differential. Right now, the Grizzlies have one of the best point differentials. I actually don't know. They might have the best, but they're 2-0 and they're plus 40 points in point differential. So if the Grizzlies keep playing all their made guys, who knows if that's going to happen, you would think they have a good chance at making, the top bracket or the championship game. But it's a big challenge playing this Magic team, which has won both of their games. And we don't know the status of Jake LaRavia. We're assuming Cam Spencer is out. And then, of course, the big question mark around Zach Edey. I asked Scotty Pippen if he's anticipating to play every game at Summer League, and he said, yeah, they want to get the championship. He said it's up to coach, but they're going for the championship. So if that's the case, the Grizzlies should have some fun games. Wednesday against the Magic, Thursday back-to-back against the Pelicans, and we will watch more of those Grizzlies games then. Anyways, thanks everybody for supporting this show, especially those of you who do it at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. If you join Patreon, you get access to my Grizzlies Slack channel. You also get at least one bonus episode a month. So if you want to support the show, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. All right. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Go Grizz.